I'm going to give you my version of safety real quick. It's similar to the safety that you've heard before. There are some nuances and slight differences, and it's all semantics, but words are powerful icons. So when we go to a range, we usually hear a safety briefing or we read them on the wall, right? Now, my number one is different than the number one that you usually see. The number one you usually see is all guns are always loaded, or treat every gun as if loaded. My number one to you is you, the individual shooter, must know the status of your weapon system at all times. See, this is life support. And in a gunfight, it doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the person you are protecting or the guy whose six you are covering. And if this isn't up and loaded, you're not just screwing yourself, you're screwing them. So, status, number one. Anytime you have the opportunity, perform a status check. Magazine, check it. Same, when it's unloaded, make sure that you could see air and that nothing is in the chamber. Status, number one. My 2, 3, and 4 are similar to what you've heard before. So number 2, fingers off the trigger until we what? Until we have an acceptable sight picture. So if we're here at the ready position, moving around, fingers straighten off the trigger, and that's out of the trigger guard even, straighten off the trigger. Out here, on the trigger all day long. That's where it's supposed to be. Back here, that's where it's supposed to be. Number 3, never cover anything with the muzzle of your weapon system that you don't wish to destroy. So, omnicognizant. Make sure you're never covering anything with the muzzle of your weapon system that you don't wish to destroy. Number 4 is know what your target is, what's beyond it, what's in front of it, and what's flanking it. Learn to perform a focal shift to see things in full spectrum. See, this is more than just administrative requirements for a range. You have to think tactical considerations. Find reference points beyond and in front of your target. See, we get into flat range mindset and we become myopic, where all we're seeing is our target. That's all we see. Think of it this way: on your flat range, and only on your flat range, is where those targets are standing still. Everywhere else, they're in motion and they're doing the same thing you are. So make sure, number 1 though, that's the most important one, always, right? Status. Understand the status of your weapon system at all times. Thanks, guys. Rock and roll. Bam.